Welcome to the Engineering, Emotions, and Energy Podcast, where you can relax, recharge, and reconnect. And now, your host, Justin Wink.
Welcome to the show. On this episode, I have a guest that I met at a recent retreat in Tulum, Mexico. She's joining me from Playa del Carmen in Mexico. Her name is Mariana Eguiarte, and she'll say it again because I'm probably still, I'm sure I got closer, but probably still not close enough with my high school Spanish speaking skills. But Mariana, she's a bonding counselor who works with water, emotions, the inner child, Nei Tsang, sacred sexuality, and shadow work. She's been on this healing path since she was 14 years old and has experience using so many different tools for herself for over 20 years and helping others with these tools for over 8. She's an expert at finding the deepest lies that we as humans say to ourselves and working to heal those defenses. And she's passionate to share those best tools with others. And the best tools, they're often the simplest and the most effective. You can find her on Instagram and Facebook as Mariana Pex. I'll have the links to those in the show notes. So welcome to the show, Mariana. So good to see you again after spending a very transformational week with you in Mexico over Thanksgiving week.
Thank you, Justin. First, to acknowledge that I really love your podcast voice and your pronunciation of my name. I totally enjoy how you just pronounce it. And it's Mariana Eguiarte. It's hard because it's a really like Spanish. And then when I pronounce in English, I still not doing it the correct way. So I'm going to put the chip of Spanish. So it will be Mariana Eguiarte.
There we go. Yeah. And then I can tell you how to say your name in American English. Yeah. Like when I was going to undergrad, there was a town nearby. It would be Paso Robles, but everyone would call it Paso Robles because it was a bunch of Americans like, we're going to Paso Robles.
Yeah, Mariana Eguiarte. Yes.
Yeah. So the topic we want to talk about is the shadow of human emotion, and I think I just kind of want to let you kind of go explain what that is to you, and I'll ask some questions because the retreat we went to dealt a lot with the shadow of the human experience. And it's when I was like, I experienced it, but I still don't even know how I would explain it or ask good questions. So that's why Mariana's here and we're going to have a little conversation so I can learn more about what I went through. And you all can also learn about probably what's going on, and you might not even be aware of it, so that you can then have some idea of what's going on, and then you can work with it better. So, what is this thing called the shadow?
It's super, super, super good. Like I love this topic, as we can hear this topic. I think in many different fields. Like if you go more into the inner work field and this transformational path to grow up with ourselves. So you can hear a lot this shadow, no? But then it's like, what the fuck is this thing? What the fuck is shadow? I want really to know what is this. And you're right. Like at the beginning, when I start this path, I start to understand shadow as a ground thing, like as something it's negative. And it's like my experience of going into that topic that I start to notice what is the real thing that it is shadow, because our mind is so dual, like it's duality. Our mind thinks in positive or negative. So shadow means dark. So dark is not good. So this
dark's bad. Dark's evil, right?
Yeah, it's evil. Like don't go there. Like this is dangerous. Better stay there. So even I start to understand that, okay, in my mind, okay, somebody explained me that shadow is not wrong. Okay, it's just something that is unconscious, that is like under something that you cannot see, because probably your family, your system, your surroundings, they told you that was something wrong. So, okay, this something is a mess.
So maybe what's some like examples that some people might consider, at a surface level as shadow, and then maybe we can like go a little bit deeper to the the nuance of it. Like, yeah, what's maybe like an example of a shadow, I don't know, emotion or pattern or habit or something that most people would think is like, oh, this is bad and I want to avoid it? Or
okay, I think there's like many, but I think one of the most the principle that we are in humanity like suffering with is like this person that is like a mean person, or somebody that says no, or somebody that don't want to help, that is selfish. Like this is being so much in the shadow. This starts with an idea that we need to be good persons, no? Like there's a lot of this in religion that tell us just be good, be nice, be kind, be beautiful, be loved. So we
follow the rules. Yeah.
Follow the rules. Just say yes. So we start to be this like separation inside of us. So we are like, okay, I cannot be selfish. This is wrong. I cannot say no. If I don't feel it, I need to say yes because this is mean for the other, because maybe she or he needs my help. And if I say no, they're not going to help me. We live in this condition. So we put this selfishness down, like, this is not possible.
I think I'm getting it more. And I had something that came up for me, like right before I left for the retreat. I was getting a dental cleaning, and the woman, she sucked at it. I was like worried she was going to hurt me, but I went through the entire cleaning because I'm like, well, I'm just supposed to suck it up and sit there and be a good little boy and let her do her thing. She's the expert, and I'm just here to let it happen. And I don't want to make trouble, because then maybe she won't help me. She won't finish the cleaning, or she will hurt me, or something like that. And I had all these things that I wanted to come, but I stuffed them down and until it was over. And then I started saying things. So I've grown. In the past, I would have probably just never said anything, but I was like, that was not good. That was not uncomfortable.
And to be honest, this moved me so much, because it's a subject that even I know mentally, like doing in an action, sometimes it's really hard. And I'm getting better and deeper, slowly, that, as you said, like maybe you are perceiving that is not good. You're not feeling like something is feeling like not cool, not aligned. And you are like, just like, okay, because my defense mechanism is that strong that I want to protect, that I make sure that I'm the good boy. So I suppress a lot, and I start maybe to think or to judge myself. No. You are mean. Don't say that to her. Just, she's doing a work. She's helping you. And you start to manipulate yourself to be quiet, And this is super strong, because we get ourselves to a really violent ways to be with ourselves, and we put in ourselves in a horrible position just because we don't want to hurt.
Yeah.
Doing this, I don't know how to say doing.
She's doing air quotes. We don't want to quote unquote hurt others, but in doing so, we're hurting ourselves,
Exactly.
In some cases physically by staying in a physically dangerous situation, but at the very least it's emotionally damaging. And I think more and more we're seeing that, all this emotional lack of release is, causes most of our diseases and cancer and things like that. So it all ultimately ends up harming the body one way or another. It's just in some ways a matter of time, all this quote unquote niceness and being good. Last night I was at a talk by a Taoist master, and he was talking about this concept of good and bad, good and evil. It sounds natural because it has to do with opposites, but it's actually has nothing to do in nature. It's a completely man-made thing. Like when there's like a rabbit and a wolf, the rabbit doesn't think the wolf is bad for chasing, and the wolf doesn't think that the rabbit is bad for getting. That's just what they do. They're just, one pursues and the other flees. There's not good or bad. It's just how it works. And a lot of the things that we think are bad, they're really not. It's just somebody said it's bad, but in a lot of ways we can always go like, well, wait, quitting's bad. It's like, well, what about quitting a bad habit like smoking or eating bad foods? Like that's a good trait then to quit, right?
Feeling overwhelmed by the daily grind? Imagine if you could pause, reset, and truly connect with a calmer, more fulfilled you. It's not just a dream, it's absolutely possible. Hi, I'm Justin, and I invite you to discover the life-changing techniques in my book, Engineered to Love. Right now, I'm offering a free chapter complete with guided audios that have already helped so many people find peace amidst the chaos. These aren't just any techniques. They're transformative practices designed to help you love yourself and engage deeply with the present moment, without even having to close your eyes to the world around you. So join us at engineeredtolove.com/sample and access your free guided session. It's time to bust the busyness and embrace the joy, ease, and love in your everyday life. Don't wait. Start your journey to a more relaxed and recharged you today, because you deserve to live a life you love. Visit engineeredtolove.com/sample. See you there.
Well, if we return to your example of the dentist, that is really good one. Like I really love that, because it's like we start to be quiet about this, and then we get out of that situation out of power. Like definitely we harsh ourselves so strong, we damage ourselves, we violate ourselves, and the other person stays in their shadow also, not moving from their pattern that is causing a lot of violence, and she even never noticed. So we are not helping ourselves, we are not helping the others, thinking that we are helping ourselves, but it's just helping our ego. We're just covering this beautiful bubble of, I want to be good, I want to seem perfect child, I want to be recognized. It's just ego that is just really not helping to the expansion of the humanity. So I feel, and I really believe that we start to need to talk to thinking more and connect with what can expand every single person and not just my ego.
You want to go beyond just that very simple, childlike way of, oh, I'm going to be the good boy, the good girl, the good little citizen. But you want to be, and again, maybe like we'll move away from the good, but be actually part of expanding all of humanity, yourself, your experience, knowing what works for you, but then also being part of enlightening in some ways, or raising the consciousness or awareness of those around you. Because going back to the experience of the bad dental, luckily I eventually said something, so it brought that awareness, but it would have been even better if in the moment I could have gone like, hey, what you're doing this is like not cool. So then she would have known, oh wait, working with someone in this way is not good for them. And then I would have had my voice, and I wouldn't have felt shrunken down, and I wouldn't have gone through the physical pain and then the psychological pain and all that.
Exactly. And for example,
yeah,
in the same example that you are saying, I've been experienced both, like the moments that I couldn't say anything and I just do exactly what you're telling, like I've been there many times. And what I feel is like, I feel depleted, no? And the other example is like, for example, this past Sunday, I was doing my inner work. Like I was dancing in a static dance. That is a party with a DJ that you're dancing and moving. And I was experiencing a lot of emotions coming through myself. And I was experiencing that I didn't want to dance with anybody. I wanted just to be with my eyes closed and be with myself. And my judgment was like, okay, you are not with the others. You are not dancing there. La, la, la. The other are crossing, like somebody wants to dance with you. I don't want. I was there in my fight with my judgment until I say, I want to hear myself and I don't care what is happening, because right now I feel that I need to be with my eyes closed and be facing this, what I'm feeling in this moment. So I was doing really, really deep and really connecting with what was happening. A lot of sadness, a lot of frustration of the same subject, that sometimes putting limits, it's been really hard for me. And I really want to do it because I know the power that is behind saying no and being the bad girl again.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is because I tried ecstatic dance for the first time this past Sunday myself too. I think you've done it before, but for me it was the first time. And they said like, yeah, you can do whatever your body wants. Like even if your fullest expression is you're on the floor crying your eyes out in a ball, go ahead, do it. And so it's like, even though that the container even says what you did is completely okay, welcomed, bring it. There's still that, because I had my eyes closed and I was just feeling stuff and not wanting to dance, but I'm still going like, I'm such a freaking weirdo. What am I doing? I'm not doing what I'm quote unquote supposed to. Meanwhile, when I finally open my eyes, like there's people like humping the floor and doing all sorts of weird, crazy stuff. And it's like, and here I am having these judgments about me just like standing there with my eyes closed. But I think that just goes to like how ingrained this stuff is, that even when someone goes, it's okay, it's still so hard to like go what your body and your emotions want to do. But I guess like you're like the ego just goes like, no, you're not supposed to do it this way. You're supposed to be thinking of all these other people. And even though we're given permission, and it's still so hard.
So because of that pattern of wanting to be good, we start to judge ourselves. And in that way, like when I was there, just facing this, I felt a woman from the static dance. I felt that she came and started to give me massage on my arms. And normally this is like, oh, this is super nice to do it. But I feel that she was cutting my process. She was cutting me from being in what I wanted to be. So my reaction, and I was working that, thanks God, I could say this, like my reaction was like, no, like this, no, you are cutting my process. Yeah. Like this. And I felt like super bad, like, so she was like really surprised. And I was like, thank you. And I noticed myself wanting to justify myself, wanting to hug her, to run with her and explain her that why I was saying that, wow, everything that provokes in myself was super strong. And I just stay and say, Mariana, stay here. You're not going to chase her to explain, to justify that you are for being with yourself, that is something wrong. So I stay there. And what I notice is the deepness, guilty, and whatever it comes after that, and feeling like a shit, and reminds me the idea that my mother has about myself. This starts to alive in myself. So when I say no, and when I face these shadows, what I was trying to protect myself is to don't feel that comes after, that to feeling you the super bad person, and feeling the fear of she's not gonna talk me anymore, like all these stories. So I was, for the first time, I could just like follow the sensation of wanting to explain myself. And I stay with that feeling, facing my guiltiness and facing that sensation horrible in the floor. And then when I was okay, that I crossed that and I said like, okay, Mariana, because I work with my inner child. So I was saying like, all is good. Like you have the right to take care about yourself. You don't need to justify because you needed that. And it was true to you. So you don't need to be good with the other. You need to be loyal with yourself. And it's not a bad thing for the other. It's not a mean thing to that person.
Yeah, that's information for them to be able to learn and grow as well, right?
Exactly. It's a permission to humanity to live in truth, that we are so scared to live in truth because somebody says that when we were little, we relate that truth. It was something wrong, that if we are truth, somebody's going to punish us, or somebody's going to say like, no, or somebody was manipulating ourselves because we say truth. Because we, as childs, we are like that. We are truth. We say like, Mom, why this lady has a penis in the face, or something like this, like it's awkward. And the mom is like, hey, no, like they try to stop you because there's something wrong about truth. So we grew up with this idea that truth is wrong and it's bad. So stop away from that. And this is what actually is stopping us to getting to our real self and be free and be accepted as the way we are, and be in a community where I can express my stuff and the other can express, and nobody takes it personal, and everybody takes their own shit, responsible of what I'm feeling. And this is freedom. Like we experience that in the retreat, and experience that we really know that it's possible and feel so good in our body, like to be free, whatever we need to be.
The truth is truth, as opposed to kind of, because we're educated. Oh yeah, truth is a virtue, but it's really, as long as it's only the truth that whatever the authority deems is acceptable or beneficial to whatever's in charge, whoever's in charge. If it's not, then shut the fuck up and tell the lies, keep telling the lie.
So this is living in manipulation, and we are manipulating ourselves. So getting into the shadow is being brave and being honest with yourself first, to recognize things that we don't want to recognize because we catalog bad things. So for example, for me, recognize to myself that I manipulate myself to gain what I want, or to put the things as I would love to be, to manipulate. This is really dark. And for me, it's really shame to say that. And so sometimes it's hard even for ourselves to get into that recognition of, okay, I'm manipulating myself. Or I want to manipulate that person so I can do what I want, instead of recognizing what I really want, that maybe it makes me feel super ashamed or fear of saying this and being rejected. Yeah. So this is more hard. So that's why we manipulate and we create and we think that this is the easiest way. But to be honest, practicing the other way is really beautiful, and it's really amazing being able to say, hey, I noticed that I wanted to manipulate you because what I really desire is you hug me. Wow.
Yeah. And instead of, there's so many strategies, if you're like, well, I can't actually say I want a hug. So well, let's see, what could I do? I could just be like super, super nice. Or, oh, what if I had a big problem? What if I was like really upset and I had a lot of drama? Then someone will want to hug me because I'm sad and they want to cheer me up. And there's just all these, and they still might not work. But one thing I've heard is it's one thing to lie to other people, but just whatever you do, don't lie to yourself, because sometimes it's just not worth the effort to express yourself to certain people. It's like, they're not going to get it. They don't care. As long as I know what I want, then I can figure out maybe, who I should express it to, but at least I know what I want and I'm owning that. But sometimes that's the hardest thing, is to even go like, what do I really want? Like, well, I can't want that. Like, what I want a hug from another human. What?
Why? And you start judging yourself. Why I want a hug? Is because I'm needy? Because I'm dependent? Because it doesn't matter. Just accept your truth.
Well, and that's the other thing with the nature of desires. We often think like, oh, there has to be a reason. There has to be no. It just is. Sometimes it's just, I just want it. I just want it, or I don't want it. Just it is. Yeah. It's like, why does the sun come up every day? It's like, I don't know. Like, there's the scientific answer. Well, because the Earth is rotating. And it's like, well, no, that just shit's happening. But like, why? It just is this, the way the sun and the Earth. It is how it is. We don't know why it is, but it is. And a lot of times our desires are like that too. Where it's just like, I want a hug, or I don't want this person to touch me. I just want to be left alone.
Exactly. And the important thing is putting out the judgment. We can recognize much better the shadow. So to work with shadow and first being able to be super honest with ourselves is super important, to recognize our judgments. Why I'm judging this? Where it come from? Who tells me that? Why? Like, who is judging the tree that is just not aligned with this other tree? Who is judging that it's raining and then suddenly the sun come out and the weather is weird and it's just like a mess? Who is judging that? Nobody, because it's nature. So if we are nature, who starts to fucking judge us? And why are we still judging that? No, so it's working with our judgment allows me even more deep to recognize my truth and be more able to say to myself the truth. That is the most important, because as you said, it's like, okay, the other day I just noticed that I want a hug for somebody, and I start to say like, like I'm gonna send her a message saying that how amazing she is, and I'm gonna invite her for dinner, and then I'm gonna give her a massage and la, instead of going to the point and saying like, okay, wait a minute, I want to manipulate all of that, making a strategy, giving things that I don't really want to feel that I want to give. just because what I really want is to tell her, could you give me a hug? So it's like so funny, like
yeah, it's a lot of wasted energy. Yeah. And then we wonder why we're so exhausted and frustrated and burnt out. And it's because we're doing all of these things to get something that we haven't even expressed what we want. Like, yeah, I always like to look at it through the lens of a means goal and an ends goal. Whereas a means is, it's just a means to get to something else. Whereas an end goal, it's like, it's an end of itself. Whereas like having a hug it's only maybe like one step away from an ends goal, which is like, I want to feel like touching connection with another human. Like there's nothing beyond that. There's no, but like, like, well, I want to give you a massage. Why? So then I can, make you feel good. Why do you want to make me feel good? So that then you'll like me. Why do you want me to like you? So that then you'll hug me. So when then it's, that one's like at least that can only take like 1 or 2 hours maybe, but most of our shit takes like a lifetime of like, well, I got to get good grades. I got to go to school and I got to get a good job and all this other stuff. And like, why? Also that I can be happy and have, good people in my life that I feel connected. Just do that. Just have good people in your life and be happy. Like all the other stuff, if it feels good too, do it. Otherwise, it might not ever bring you what you want, especially if you don't even know what you want. So in your experience, what are some of the ways that people could start like working with the quote unquote stuff that they've been told is bad, but they're like, maybe this isn't actually bad. Maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's something to look into, and maybe it is okay to want something that I've for some reason told I'm not supposed to want. Maybe it's talking to a certain person, or maybe doing a certain type of activity, or whatever it is. Because like, as we've demonstrated, even if you go to a place where you're told be as weird or as whatever, it's totally okay. It's so fucking hard. And you've been at it for 20 years and I don't know how long I've been at it. So for the average person, it's like, I can express what I want. Like, what's a way that they can even go about that is sustainable? And they're going to be like, okay, I feel like I'm doing it and I'm making progress at least.
The first thing I would say is work a lot with your judgment. Like really sit with yourself every day to check, where am I judging myself? Where I not allowing myself to express, to be, and try to ask to yourself what I really desire. If I imagine that nobody's gonna judge me, there's no exist society, there's no exist friends, there's no exist my ego, what I will do right now. And it's just like the most important thing of every working yourself is dedicate time. And time is precious. When you sit with yourself 5 minutes and start to see like, oh, like I really will love to, for example, that I would really love to give massages to friends and receive, and somebody kiss somebody, but that doesn't mean that I want to marry with them and have kids and then have sex and then have all these things that we start to put it in together. So it's like, if I just recognize my desire and I just stop judging that what I want is connection, what I want is hugs, what I want is pleasure. What's wrong with that? It's like, why I've been thinking that it's something wrong with that. So first I put out the judgment, I hug this in myself, and I start to understand myself instead of judging it. So instead of judging, I change to, how can I understand this in myself? Okay, I grew up without touch. Yeah, I was chasing the touch of my father. Okay, so that means that I really need a lot of touch. So how can I support this first for myself? Okay, I can start exploring touching myself in a lovely way, maybe giving me a massage. Maybe at the first time I feel weird. And then I can ask also to my friends. And without that judgment, you can be more you, saying what you want, what you desire. And the time with yourself is what I will say.
Yeah, I don't know. What I keep learning more and more is that my external world is just a reflection of what's going on inside me. My thoughts, my emotions, my patterns, all that. And it's like, as I change, the people, the world around me, even though we're taught to we'll change the external world and then you'll be happy. It's like, no, it's like, as you internally become happier, then externally the world starts to support that. Like the people that I've met in the last month are just way more easier for me to be happy with, because I was just naturally happy. And it's like, sometimes I'll come into contact with people that are like problematic, and it's just like, I just don't want to spend much time with them, because it's just like, I just don't want to have challenges and difficult relationships. And I've had plenty of those in my life. I'm just like, I don't need that. That was my pattern. That's how I used to do it. One thing I'll offer about judgments is the judging the judgments. Because sometimes there's a like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I thought that person sucks, or that they're mean, or like, oh, I'm so judgmental. Like, it's just built in of how we are as humans. There's a purpose to it. It keeps us safe when like we're not able to consciously decide and be aware, like, and which we can't do all the time. So we have like our habit system, which is tied to sort of judgments, which is like, oh, this thing worked out, this thing did not. So this thing that didn't work out, we'll put under the category of bad. And then the thing that worked out, we'll call good. And like, maybe that worked once when you were 5, but a lot of shit has probably changed in that time. And we can start to question and reprogram. And there's nothing wrong with the judgment. It's buying into it, I would say, and not questioning it. It's okay that you're judging. You're not bad for judging. You're just a human. You're just a human. Humans judge, but it's like, what do we do with it? Do we let that run our life? And I think this type of work is really about going like, no, I don't need to let that run my life. I can work with my judgments, see where they came from, and I can start to change them or behave differently, think differently, feel differently.
I feel more than changing a judgment is more understanding, because we don't want to separate ourselves from nature. So we are like, this is another part to add to this shadow work. First of all, to know that shadow is nothing at all to be with something bad. Shadow means something that is unconscious, whatever it is. It could be good. Like I had in my shadow my power for many times, many times, because my power was super scary for my mom. So what I did, I put my power under the shell. So this is also a shadow. When I recognize my shadow, so that means my power, it's scary too, because for me it was something that was not making me feel good, but it's something that is mine and I can work with that. But I didn't want it for my story. So it's like understanding that the shadow is not good or wrong. It's just something that is not recognizing. And it could be something that we catalog as negative or as positive. And the importance to recognize these shadows, negative or positive, is because we can start being complete. When we start to be complete, that means that everything that we tend to judge, we are understanding, because we are humans, and we are start to saying like, oh, okay, like being mean, manipulative, violent, everything that we can catalog, like, okay, that I'm getting a lot of attention from the others, like I am a power, that I'm being really firm with what I'm sharing. All these things that maybe can be dangerous for the world, you start to hug these parts of yourself. So that means that when you allow yourself to be in that parts, that means that you start to allow the other being like that. So you don't take it personal. You start judging less to the other, and you start to be more responsible about yourself. So you start to integrate yourself and stop feeling separate and say like, oh, this person is like, oh, no, this thing, I'm not like this. Like, I never been like this in my life. And instead saying that, using the mirror, as you said, as you mentioned, it's like, okay, this person is showing me something about myself because it's causing me some uncomfortability. So whenever it's uncomfortability in yourself, put attention there and just use it as a gift for yourself. What is moving me? Okay, he's being so mean with that person, and I'm feeling like, now, like, why he's so mean? This is not good. This is not correct. So what had really happened to me is that I'm fighting with myself because I don't allow myself to say many times no when I need to say it, and it's gonna save myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've definitely had that experience where when I have a judgment of someone else, usually that's a behavior I wish I could allow myself to have, or it's something that I don't like about myself as well. So there's usually something about me that has to do with when I'm judging someone else. And I think we're close to probably wrapping up, but I do want to bring like the metaphor of the shadow is it's something that without the light, it seems like way bigger, way scarier. And all of this is really, I think what you've been talking about is just starting to bring like the light of awareness to, our judgments and maybe, where they come from, the meaning. And as the light comes, then it's not as big a deal. And we get to see more clearly, and it can go like, okay, how do we work with this? And it's like, okay, what might have seemed like a really scary, evil thing when it's just shadow because you're not really looking. But when you shine the light on it, you're like, oh, this is just something that it worked back in the past, but now it doesn't work. Or oh shit, this is a great treasure. There's a gift here. So I think
exactly, it's like it's not that bad how I thought.
Yeah. So I think there's a little bit of lean in, but gently, kindly. Don't have to go run and do something that's if you feel like you need to, then I'm not going to stop somebody from going to ecstatic dance and crying on the dance floor if they're up for it. But I wouldn't say that that's probably the first thing to start. I think Mariana is like, just start noticing your judgments, noticing your thoughts, maybe writing it down. All this stuff, it can be way easier with somebody that's been there before. You can go like, yeah, that's okay. It's normal. So would encourage you to reach out to Mariana if you want to work with her. So check the show notes for her Instagram and her Facebook, or me or anybody. I think get help from anybody that you have trust that's been there before, because you don't have to go into the shadows alone necessarily. It can be easier to start because sometimes we're scared. We don't trust other people yet, but that's a shadow as well.
Yeah.
Any last things?
Definitely being with somebody that guides you at the beginning is super useful, because as we have this strong mechanism of don't wanting to see ourselves in the shadow, we need somebody that help us to see like, why you don't want to see this, and what is this, and questioning ourselves to arrive and say like, okay. And also understanding what you say, that is super important to look at the shadow, because we put off the power. Whenever we don't want to recognize, we're gonna act like this without wanting. So energetically, even we don't feel it, even we don't see it, it doesn't mean that it's not there. So if you don't want to see it, it's gonna guide your life, and it's gonna appear in front of you in horrible situations, bad jobs, bad couples, not good friends, because the shadow is gonna put in front of you to you be able to see it. So if you are able to see it, it's going to become in light. So you're going to have other experience more lightly and beautiful, love. So it's like really hard to understand with the mind.
Yeah, the body, the emotions has wisdom. And the more you have the wisdom, the more you're in choice, and the more beauty, love flow. Well said, Mariana. Thanks everybody for listening. Do make sure to follow, subscribe the show, and reach out to either one of us if you have more questions on this. So thanks so much, and good day. If you want to contact the show, email me at podcast@justinwink.com. That's Justin, WENCK. And find me on social media, Justin Wink, Ph.D. on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. And if you want ways so that you can relax, recharge, and reconnect, find the Tuesday 20 every Tuesday at 12:05 p.m. Pacific. It's only 20 minutes, and it's going to get you relaxed, recharged, and reconnected. It's on YouTube, and it's on Facebook. So looking forward to seeing you there.